find a way to run from the city of the sun. You could have stayed, it's only over when the day is done. I never knew you was a runner, yeah. I mistook you for a son. It don't matter what we think when it's all over. 'Cause this is our last chance to leave it all behind. Raise your voice and raise your power, yeah. This is our last chance to leave it all behind. Raise your voice and raise your power, yeah.
Archie, is it fun?
Fun.
Fun.
After me. Ready? Happy?
Happy.
New?
New?
New.
Was wrong to say I wouldn't change a thing, 'cause in the story of our lives, the best of times through color glass, time rolls on enough to let me move on past, but every little now and then it creeps on back to shape my smile.
Okay, today is March 5th, 2021, and it's 10:41 a.m. So this video is going to be slightly different because this morning I was so busy trying to finish a video that I had done. I finished edit since 3 or 4 p.m. yesterday. So it was giving me a hard time to upload and to render. So I really wanted to finish with it because I really didn't want to re-edit it. Maybe it could have been much easier for me to do that, but I didn't want to do it. So while I was on Twitter today, there were a lot of video clips that were being shown left and right regarding the interview that's coming this Sunday regarding Meghan. So while I was taking a shower, and I was like, you know what? Because I've been getting flagged a lot on my videos when I show certain video clips, maybe I should put some of those video clips in one video. That way, if I get flagged, I don't care. At least when I have the computer back again, I will go back to some of those tweets that I saw that have videos, but I will not show the videos. Maybe I'll do a screenshot or just don't play it. Okay, and then go in the comment section and read some of the comments and put my input in it and stuff like that. But this video is gonna be only video clips only. All right, so I just want to keep you up to date of what's going on Twitter. And while my kids are in class right now, so I have a couple time to just put them together for you. All right, so if I get flagged, I really don't care. All right, please take a moment to subscribe, like, and share.
Buckingham Palace has just announced they are investigating claims that Duchess Meghan Markle was abusive to the palace staff, and some are questioning the timing of this since Meghan and Prince Harry's interview with Oprah is airing in a few days. Here is a preview of it.
How do you feel about the palace hearing you speak your truth today?
I don't know how they could expect that after all of this time, we would still just be silent if there is an active role that the firm is playing in perpetuating falsehoods about us. And if that comes with risk of losing things, I mean, there's a lot that's been lost already.
So, Meghan, what do you think of the timing here?
Yeah, this is really interesting because it's a very obvious oppo dump on Meghan Markle. And one of the things she's being accused of in her abuse is emailing staffers early in the morning. So I think that's obviously ridiculous on a lot of different levels. I think when it comes to leaks and oppo dumps against a subject, whether it's on talk shows like it happens on this show or in politics, you always have to ask who is benefiting and what do people gain by making a specific subject look bad. Right now, they're trying to make Meghan Markle look really, really bad, including accusing her of wearing diamond earrings that were gifted her by the Prince of Saudi Arabia after Jamal Khashoggi was murdered. And these are all facts that have been, I guess, known for many years. Why are they coming out right now? They're coming out right now because there's a big Oprah interview coming out that's probably going to make the palace look really bad. The question I have for Buckingham Palace is, why is Meghan Markle's earrings and her emailing early in the morning more important than Prince Andrew allegedly having sex with minors on Jeffrey Epstein's pedophile island? Because that seems like a way bigger problem for you guys. And instead, you're focusing on her. And I think we can't ignore the elephant of the room, that there's probably a racial angle to this. There's a lot of racism directed at this woman in a lot of different ways. She threatens a lot of people in the patriarchy in lots of different areas, and it just looks like they are bullying her in the press. And I am going to be sitting watching the entire two-hour interview with Oprah this weekend.
Right. Sonny, what's your thought on this?
I'm going to be watching it too, and I'll tell you. I mean, it's interesting because I think they are that concerned. The firm, the palace, the family, the royal family. They are that concerned about that Oprah interview to dredge up some allegations from 2.5 years ago that she allegedly bullied the staff by, like Meghan said, sending emails at 5 a.m. My goodness, ask any person that works with me. I send emails 1 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, 5 a.m. I would have had many cases against me by now if that's considered criminal behavior. I'm really shocked that rather than trying to mend this rift, rather than supporting Meghan and Harry, who I think removed his wife and his family from England because of the terrible racial hatred that she was subjected to, and he didn't want history to repeat itself after what happened to his mother with the media. I'm just surprised that they haven't tried to even apologize for not protecting her more and instead do this. It says a lot, I think, about the workings of the royal family.
Buckingham Palace saying an investigation into Meghan Markle being abusive to palace staff was happening. So, Joy, what's your take on all this? You love the royals.
I do love, I love the British output of fiction and history and mystery, yes. It's like this young woman versus the family that goes back to Henry VIII, okay? Off with her head, that king. No wonder she calls them the firm. Because, did you ever see that movie or read the book by John Grisham about, with Tom Cruise? If you go against the firm, they will make your life miserable. In that movie, they will kill you. In the British monarchy, they will just make your life miserable. You better toe the line. Look what happened to Diana. Same thing. They do not like it when you go up against them. As far as Andrew, who is really a pervert, is concerned, he is their boy. This girl is not blood. And I'm not even sure about Harry, but that's another story altogether. And the other thing I would say is, why would you, there's a lot of crap coming out of the British tabloid. tabloids, and the royal family is not counteracting that, which is basically tacit approval, in my opinion. And why would you trust anything coming out of the Rupert Murdoch machine? All they do is lie for a buck. So I'm on Team Meghan Markle.
Okay, Sarah, what's your thoughts about this?
I don't want to hear about any investigations that don't involve Prince Andrew coming out of the palace and his connections to Jeffrey Epstein and his affairs or actions with young girls and women. It's the fact that there's silence there is also tacit consent. And I'm going to go ahead and beat the lawyers to it. I've got to say Prince Andrew has denied allegations. He had sex with an alleged Epstein victim and said he never witnessed any of the criminal conduct that Epstein was convicted of or was accused of. But I stand by my answer. Until they investigate Prince Andrew, I don't want to hear about it.
I just want to say that I called you either February or March 2018 before the wedding, asking, would you please give me an interview? And you said, I'm sorry, it's not the right time. And finally, we get to sit down and have this conversation.
Well, I remember that conversation very well. I wasn't even allowed to have that conversation with you personally, right? There had to be people from the comments sitting there. Everything was...
There were other people in the room when I was having that conversation.
Yeah,
you turned me down nicely and said, perhaps there will be another time when there's the right time. What is right about this time?
Well, so many things that we're on the other side of a lot of life experience that's happened, and also that we have the ability to make our own choices in a way that I couldn't have said yes to you then. That wasn't my choice to make. So as an adult who lived a really independent life, to then go into this construct that is different than I think what people imagine it to be. It's really liberating to be able to have the right and the privilege in some ways to be able to say yes. I'm
to
I'm
say
ready
it
to
for
talk.
yourself.
To say it for
and
yourself.
not to have to consult with anybody at this point.
Yeah, to be able to just make a choice on your own and just be able to speak for yourself.
When you have all these comments around Prince Harry, can I just say Prince Harry is the husband to Meghan that Prince Charles never was to Diana. And that's saying something. That is saying something right there. This is a man who's understood that history can repeat itself. And it's like, you know what? Like Nigerians would say, prevention is better than cure. Okay? So right now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm actually tired. And I think a lot of people are really sick and tired of the toxicity. And I never really talk about the royal family, but right now, I have to say the firm is seriously ticking me off. I know for a fact there is no way Kensington Palace or so-called royal aides can sneeze without royal approval. So how in heaven's name is it that days before this big old Oprah interview, all of a sudden they're regurgitating, repackaging claims of bullying that happened a couple of years ago. And all of a sudden, Buckingham Palace is going to take investigating. How does that happen? Why didn't you investigate it in 20?
This is a Page 6 article. While newly pregnant with Archie, Meghan Markle, quote, turned and hissed at a staffer, leaving the employee in tears during a tense 2018 royal event in Fiji. Markle has brushed the allegations aside as a calculated smear campaign by the palace to deflect from the blockbuster Oprah sit-down. I 100% believe that this is a way to deflect from the Oprah sit-down. Could you imagine? I'm picturing in my head, pregnant Meghan Markle in Fiji, incandescent with rage, the quote says, and just turning around and going, that seems like the most outrageous thing that anybody could do. Does anybody actually hiss? This seems like the queen is up to something. That this
Palace
story, by the way,
aides are coming out of the woodwork
this
now.
Doesn't seem like
I don't care that Meghan Markle hissed at somebody, because to me, if you're hissing at somebody, power move. If she did hiss, I blame it on the people around her for pushing her to the point of hissing.
Very good to talk to you both, and I'm sure you're both going to talk your minds here. So let me start with you, Kelechi. And, these bullying allegations coming out just before the broadcast of this Oprah interview, do you think there's something going on here? Do you think there is a hidden agenda? And if so, why?
I think that it's definitely racialized when we are talking about Meghan specifically and her proximity to blackness, because her mum is a black woman. Yes, Meghan identifies as biracial, but her mum is a black woman, and the press are very much aware of this. The institution is very much aware of this, and we know that the stereotype that's often afforded or inflicted upon black women is the angry black woman stereotype. Black women are seen as aggressive and intimidating, and so that same narrative is being used for her in this case. I don't know Meghan personally, however, I know that trope very personally. I know it viscerally, and that's what I see at play here.
Yeah, and Gina, do you go along with that? And it's that story is told, isn't it, in some of the language that has been used. It goes way back, some of the language that's been used about Meghan right when they hooked up for the first time.
Absolutely. I mean, you cannot deny the racial overtones of the reporting. The headline, almost straight out of Compton. She's from nowhere near Compton. And that is just harks to hood and ghetto and gangs and stuff like that. These kind of things that they were putting into people's minds, talking about her exotic DNA. The difference in the way that she was depicted in the press, whereas when Kate Middleton eats an avocado, it's wonderful. It's full of omegas. And then when she eats an avocado, it's linked to human rights abuses. And the whole bullying thing, whether these accusations are true or not, these accusations were from 3 years ago, and it's only now they're suddenly deciding to release that information and do an investigation. It's a transparent and pathetic attempt to smear her before this Oprah Winfrey interview comes out, because they're scared of what she's going to say. The way that she's been covered has just been ridiculous. The angry black woman trope is so obvious. Oh, she's up at 6 a.m. sending out emails. Oh, well, we don't say they're lazy. Sending out emails. It's awful. It's bullying. And yet, if she'd been waking up at 11, what would they have said then? Oh, well, we don't say they're lazy, but 11 a.m. She could not win in this situation.
But Gina, just to stay with you on that, I mean, people will say, well, the language was never overtly racist. You touched on some of the phrases that were used in the press. Unroyal was another one that comes to mind. What do you read into that?
Well, unroyal. Why? Because she's come from a broken family. Did Prince Harry not also come from a broken family? Why is he not being called unroyal? It's underhand, it's passive aggressive, but you know exactly what they're saying. They're talking about her DNA, they're talking about her mother's dark skin and her dreadlocks. It was so obvious. It's obvious to anybody who's willing to look.
And Kelechi, I mean, people say in the United Kingdom, well, we're sorry they felt they had to leave. And what is this about racism? A lot of people I've heard say, well, we didn't even know that Meghan was black. We're not racist.
The issue with the UK is that I think that we are dealing with a deep malaise that has festered. It's at the very core of our society. Our laws are built upon them. The very institutions and systems that we know wholeheartedly are built upon racism. The very great in Britain is the number of great atrocities that were committed, all in the name of empire. So really, when we talk about, for instance, Meghan being a bully, quote unquote, then I feel like, who is the true bully? You know, for us to have the monarchy, to me, it's a representation of the colonization that's taken place, that we've renamed as the Commonwealth. That is a legacy of bullying pretty much most of the world. So if Meghan were in fact to be a bully, I don't know her, but if she were in fact to have been a bully, would she not just be exacting the very narrative that has upheld the monarchy as we've known it throughout the centuries? I don't know, but I understand that the way that the media have been talking about her, that can affect somebody's mental health. We know that she recently had a pregnancy loss and now she's expecting another child. Surely we shouldn't be so aggressive towards her, but that doesn't seem to matter. Her, you know, her livelihood, her safety, her protection doesn't seem to matter to the British public. So when we say, oh, well, we're not a racist country and I didn't even know she was black. Well, no, we know her mum's black. We saw her mum at the royal wedding. And I think that it's those narratives, it's the kind of systemic gaslighting that we're seeing nationwide that's allowing for this to happen.
Okay, I'm glad to say we're joined now. Well, sorry, Gina, please come in on that. But we've got another guest joining us in a moment. But Gina, okay, please.
What I was saying is that this whole notion, we didn't know she was black. The language that has been used. Eamon Holmes on British TV called her uppity. Now, if you know the connotations of that word, the word uppity was a word used by white people to talk about black people who were acting above their station in being able to speak properly and being able to read and stuff. And for him to use such a word is laughably racist. And for him to then say that he didn't know what it meant. If you're going to use a word on national TV that you don't know what it means or what its true meaning is, then maybe you should look it up before you use it. So don't tell me that there are no, oh, we didn't know we were racist. It's absolute rubbish. The problem is everybody looks at American racism and thinks, oh yeah, American racism is so into your face. British racism is just more cleverly done. Americans brought black people from Africa and put them in plantations in America. It was very much in your face. The Brits and Europeans hid it. They did it on Caribbean islands. They hid their dirty deeds, but it doesn't mean it didn't happen. And it still happened. And this is why we have a problem with discussing racism now, because they've spent so many hundreds of years hiding it so well.
Okay, and look, we've been joined, I'm glad to say, by Shola Moss-Shogba. Mimu, very good to talk to you, Shola. Come on into this conversation, and you'll have heard what we've been discussing, some of the tropes, particularly racial tropes, surrounding Meghan Markle. Give me your views on that, and add in here, there's also a rather traditional sexist one as well, isn't there, of the gullible man being led astray by the powerful woman.
Let me just say, first of all, that my sisters, Gina and Kelechi, are absolutely on point. And let me just add to what they said. The level of idiocity from the caucasity of particularly those of the British media has reached the levels of utter, ridiculousness. I mean, when we think about the fact that Meghan is being treated worse, think about it, worse than somebody that's actually committed a crime. And the way they deny that race has something to do with it is truly ridiculous. People have to understand that Black and biracial people of Black heritage, race always plays an issue because racism intersects with other forms of inequality that they experience. Okay? We don't need to write it on our forehead. Those who go, well, show me an example. What's wrong with you? Are you blind? Can't you see? Are you illiterate? Can't you read? What is it that is right in your face that you refuse to deconstruct? I mean, do we need to send you back to school? I'm afraid that even if we do send you back to school, even if it was one of the top like Eton and Red, you still come back the same. The point here is Meghan Markle right now is being used as an example of what happens to you if you don't fit the mold. And the three Black women you see on the screen right now, we're examples of get off her back because we will not tolerate this nonsense. When you do that to Meghan Markle, the reason why the British press is getting such backlash is because we've seen this happen before, not just to Meghan, but to us. We know what it looks like. The writing is on the wall. And when you have all these comments around Prince Harry, can I just say Prince Harry is the husband to Meghan that Prince Charles never was to Diana. And that's saying something. That is saying something right there. This is a man who's understood that history can repeat itself. And it's like, you know what? Like Nigerians would say, prevention is better than cure. Okay? So right now, as far as I'm concerned, I'm actually tired. And I think a lot of people are really sick and tired of the toxicity. And I never really talk about the royal family, but right now, I have to say the firm is seriously ticking me off. I know for a fact there is no way Kensington Palace or so-called royal aides can sneeze without royal approval. So how in heaven's name is it that days before this big old Oprah interview, all of a sudden they're regurgitating, repackaging claims of bullying that happened a couple of years ago. And all of a sudden, Buckingham Palace is going to take investigating. How does that happen? Why didn't you investigate it in 2018? What happened then? What happened with actually going through a thorough investigation? What people need to understand is that when it comes to Black people, especially Black women, accusing us of being a bully is just as bad as saying that we're guilty. We are guilty until proven innocent. And enough is enough with that.
Okay, listen, I've got a last question for you all. I suspect it will be, and it's following on from what you've all been saying and the point Shola's making there about the royal family. Let's flip this round. And Gina, do you think they've therefore missed a real chance here to genuinely signal that they're modernising, they're changing, they're listening, and in some sense atoning for past sins?
Yeah, they missed a massive opportunity. They got a Black woman in the royal family. They had all they had to do was stand up for her. That's all they needed to do, is to stand up for her against this onslaught by the press. And it was an onslaught. You know, the fact that a BBC presenter felt like it was okay to post a picture of a chimpanzee when her baby was born. If they'd only stood up for her, then they would have won the hearts and minds of everybody. And they chose not to. And now they're choosing to attack her days before this. It's pathetic. It's transparent.
And Kelechi, you talked earlier about the empire, the role, obviously, the British royal family in that. Same question to you then about a missed opportunity here for a modernisation of the royal family.
Yeah, I mean, what are we modernising? We're modernising rape, pillage, theft, and then displaying it in the British Museum. What were we really modernising? I think that I'm actually glad the way that all of this is playing out. I obviously wouldn't want that kind of the pain that Meghan has had to endure. Surely not. However, I do believe that we are seeing a crumbling of the monarchy, and that needs to happen. If we're talking about a true equitable society that is just for all, that is fair for all, then surely we can't have the hierarchy that we currently have in terms of the monarchy. So they are, they put themselves on notice really by the way that they've treated Meghan, which goes to show that the very pervasive nature of the racism that has upheld the monarchy for so many centuries, it's not something that you can just wish away. It's not something that you can marry away. They're going to have to reckon with that. All of us as a nation will have to reckon with that.
Well, I said before the interview started that you'd say your mind. We were not disappointed. Kelechi, Shola, Gina, very good to see you all. Please come.